Hey y'all, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm so excited to bring you 3 more fall-inspired DIYs. They are so much fun. One of them, I really stepped out of my comfort zone and tried something different and surprisingly love the way it turned out, which I encourage you to do the same. You might find your hidden talent that you didn't even know you had. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that little red subscribe button if you haven't. And let's get started. Okay, so here's some more scrap pieces of wood James had cut out for me last year that I've used to make like the American flag banner. Well, I decided I'm going to make the remaining pieces I have to look like candy corn. So here's what I'm doing. I'm kind of just taping it off with some painter's tape, and I'm going to paint the top and the bottom white. The top will be white, the bottom will be yellow. And then once I get that painted, then I will take my tape off, reuse the same tape, and tape off and do the center in orange. Now, I'm not worried about painting the back because you're not going to see it where I have it, but if that's something you wanted to do, you could definitely do that, but I didn't do that. And I wish I would have used a different shade of yellow. I didn't realize when I did this that I had that brighter shade of yellow, so I may or may not go back and redo that. I don't know, but here I am using that same piece of tape. I just took it off and placed it over the painted sections. Of course, it was dry when I did this. And then I will paint the middle section orange. Y'all, this is the easiest, simplest DIY ever. I did make sure I get the sides, but I didn't worry about the back. Like I said, if you were going to do this and resell it or give it as a gift, you may want to finish the back. I just didn't do it. So once I do that, then we're going to hot glue our jute twine on it. And y'all, it is that simple and that easy, and I love it. Cannot wait to get it hung up in my home for fall. But this is just a quick, simple one I wanted to kind of show y'all and give y'all some ideas. So I hope you enjoy. So here are the little pumpkins that I just kind of did a rough draw out, and then I cut them out with my jigsaw. And I have this scrapbook paper, and I wanted to cover each one with scrapbook paper, so I just laid each one down, traced it out, and then I'm going to cut out the scrapbook paper. Now I do paint each one of the pumpkins. I went ahead and painted them all with the Waverly paint and truffle, just so they would have a good base coat. And then I'm going to cut out the scrapbook paper and Mod Podge them on the front. Now, of course, painting them is optional, but I think it just gives them a good finished look, and I just kind of go over all of it with a good coat of truffle. I don't worry about it being like complete coverage because I know I am going to be covering it with my scrapbook paper, and here I am just Mod Podging each one. And as far as my scrapbook paper, I tried to pick 3 that would just kind of go together if on the chance that I ended up, staging them together, or if I used them in separate places. But I did want them to kind of look like they would go together. So I'm just giving this a good coat of Mod Podge and just going to let that dry, and we'll move on to the next step. Y'all, I am so ready for fall. It has been so hot and humid, and I'm ready for fall, and then doing all these little fall DIYs is really getting me in the mood for fall. I know it might be too early for some folks, but fall is just my absolute favorite time of the year. But I did want to get a jump start, and maybe if y'all wanted to do some of these little DIYs, give y'all the opportunity to, get the supplies you needed and give you some ideas for your fall decor if you do all that. I love to decorate for fall. So here I am after it's dried and the Mod Podge is hard. I just kind of took the fingernail file and got the excess off. And now I'm going to use my jute twine and I'm going to wrap it around each one of the stems just to kind of give it a different texture and not just be all flat with the scrapbook paper. I've kind of figured I was going to do this, but I wasn't 100% sure is why I went ahead and covered the stem with the scrapbook paper. So if this is something you know you're going to do, you might want to just not worry about it, but I did it just in case. And it also helps like if there's any gaps in the twine. And I just wrapped it and was using my glue gun, you know, where I needed it. And each stem was a little bit different, so that I can't tell you do it this way. This makes it easier. You just kind of have to work with what you have and how your stems are and how you cut yours out. Now, I could see this working on the little Dollar Tree pumpkins that they had last year. I don't know if they're going to have them this year, but I was never able to find any last year, so I just kind of drew mine out my own. And the good thing about pumpkins, y'all, they don't have to be perfectly round. Pumpkins are not perfectly round. They're all different shapes and sizes, so it's an easy thing to do. And, you know, you just get out there with a pencil and draw it, and if you don't like the shape, erase it and start over. And that's what I did. And then I would lay down my original one on my wood, and I would either, you know, go smaller go larger and larger, and that's how I got the 3 different sizes. So that's what I did. I really hope y'all are enjoying this video. If you do, I would please ask you to give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel get out there and get seen. And if you haven't already, I'd love it if you'd hit that little red subscribe button. It's real easy, it's quick, and it's free. So, yeah, it's a win-win. So, I'm just going to keep doing this to each one of the stems, and then once it's done, there's one other step we're going to do to it that I figured out that I had to do afterwards. Of course, it will be totally optional, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Okay, so now I took my antique wax, and you can see around the edges where I did that filing, it took off a little bit of the paint, which was fine. So I'm just going to take my antique wax and just go around the edges, and I just go over the back just to kind of neaten it all up, totally optional. And then I just kind of go over the top to kind of age it, distress it a little bit more. Again, totally optional. But I did want to cover up the edges where I filed and some of the paint come off. So once we do this, and we're going to let that dry, I'm loving how these turned out, and I'm so glad I did the jute twine around the stem. I think it just really took it up a notch. So now I'm going to take, you see this is one of those little garlands I got from the Dollar Tree. I just cut some pieces of it and took me a pencil and just wrapped it around that little curly Q. And then I just wrap it around the stem. I don't glue it or anything because it's wired and there's no need. But I just kind of pull it out, and then I just wrap it around the stem. And I think this is so cute and just gives it another little touch. Kind of dress it up a little bit. Again, totally optional, but I think it definitely added to it. You'll have to let me know what you think about these little pumpkins in the comment section down below. I'm very proud of them, considering they're just free-handed. I drew them out, and then I just cut them out with my jigsaw and sanded them, and here you go. And it's just scrap wood I had in the garage. I'm dwindling that pile down, but here I'm just kind of showing you again. I just take a pencil and you can do the pieces as long or as short as you want. I think each one has got a different length, but you just twist it around, pull it off, stretch it out. There you go. And then wrap it around the stem, like so. And you can just twist it around itself, and there you go. How cute is that? And it totally just dressed it up another notch, in my opinion. That's that. Now, I don't think I have video clip of this, but this is those little square wood pieces I think I got from Hobby Lobby. I just put some antique wax on them and hot glued them to the back, and that way the pumpkins will stand up if I need them to because I may just stand them up on their own, or I may have them leaning against something. I wasn't sure, so I just did this, and this seemed to work. So I would suggest you do that if you're gonna, possibly stand them up on their own. I have a few ideas of some things I want to make. So I'm going to come out here to my little junk pile, try to find the right scraps and the size that I need, and get started. This is all of my scrap wood that I've made James save, that I've been dwindling down, and this is what I use. So let me get to digging. Okay, this piece looks good. I just need to cut it, and he's got the chop saw, so do that. This is too big. Let's see. Perfect. This'll work. So I wanted to try something different. I found this on Pinterest, and with that scrap piece of wood, I'm just going to give it a good base coat of truffle from Waverly, and I'm going to try my hand at freehanding this painting. So wish me luck. So I give this piece of scrap wood a coat of truffle all over, front, back, and sides, not worrying about the coverage too much. And then here I am filling in my little pumpkin, and I'm sorry, I thought I had hit record when I started painting my pumpkin, but undoubtedly I didn't, and I got this much done. But what you don't see, there's a little secret, is I had messed up, painted over it, and started over. So this is actually my second attempt, and I'm really having a good time with this. I've just put me some colors out there, and I'm just blending and mixing. And the good thing about pumpkins, they're not all one solid color, and you can really just create your own version of it, and there's really no right or wrong as far as color-wise, in my opinion, with the pumpkins. And this was a lot of fun. I definitely stepped out of my comfort zone in attempts to do this, and had a lot of fun. I was really surprised, and I'm quite happy with the end results. So I would say, get you some scrapbook paper, some scrap piece of wood like I did. Find you something on Pinterest or in a magazine, and just try to paint it. And you might surprise yourself. This was very therapeutic. I totally enjoyed myself, and if I would mess up, I would just kind of take my truffle color and just kind of clean up my messes. And I just played with it until I got, the result I was looking for, and really enjoyed this. To the left of me, you can't see it in the frame, but I do have the picture pulled up on my iPad. So I'm kind of looking at it for reference and just having fun. So definitely step outside your comfort zone and maybe try something like this, or drawing, or anything creative like that, and you just might be surprised at how much you enjoy it. I really had a lot of fun with this. So you'll have to let me know what you think about the end result, but be kind, and remember, this was my first time trying something like this freehand. And so just be gentle with me when you tell me what you think. Okay, as I was editing, I realized I lost footage on how I did these little flowers, so I was going to kind of show you what I did. So I have this stencil. It come on like a reel. It come on something like this, and I just cut it off. It come from the Dollar Tree because I've used it several times. So all I did to get this little white flower was I just kind of found a spot. I just found a spot that I liked. Yeah, I hear James and Buster in there. And I did it off of the edge, and then I just stenciled this, okay? And that's how I got my little white flower. Then I just put it down here on the bottom, found me a spot, let it hang off the edge, and then just kind of stenciled it on the bottom. And then once I picked it up, I just freehanded and made this center look different than this center, added some gray to that, this got messed up right through here, so I kind of went in there with some paint and separated that and just kind of played with it a little bit, and that's how I used my stencil. Now what you could do if you wanted to, it would have been really cute to have done something like this, and you could have just used, could have had like 3 flowers and had the green. I didn't. I just did it like this and like this. But that's what I used to get these flowers. I did freehand this. I did find it easier if I kind of like drew with my pencil the kind of the shape of the pumpkin, the outline of it, and then I just freehanded all that with my paint. I'm not a professional. This is the first time ever looking at something and kind of freehanding it, but I really love the way that it turned out. I still have to kind of like do the sanding and the stressing, and I'm gonna do that. But I did want to tell y'all about the stencil. I'm sorry. I thought I had hit record, and obviously I had not. So I just wanted to tell y'all that. So this is it. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, this part was a little harder doing it by hand. I don't know if it was because of the chalk paint or if I was trying to just be careful and not mess up the painting, but I recommend hand sanding it because I think the orbital sander would have like taken too much of what I painted off. But anyway, I just took me some sandpaper, and as you can see, I just went to town on it. Just kind of roughing up just the edges and the part where the painting is not. And in the end result, I think it turned out really good. Just took a little elbow grease, but it was worth it. And I love this little piece. I would just sand a little bit and wipe off the dust, sand, wipe off until I got the desired look I was going for. What do you think? I love them. I cannot wait to start decorating for fall. I know y'all don't come for me in the comment section for those of you who really love summer and are not interested in fall, but it is my favorite time of the year, and making these little DIYs, I'm just so excited for fall. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye y'all.